Good day, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we want to discuss about graphs of linear equation. It is stated that graph of linear equation, it means that there are other types of graph of quadratic equation, of cubic equation, of exponential equation, and so on and so forth. But today we want to look at the graph of linear equation. For every graph, there are tables, and that's because on every graph we have various axes. We have the y-axis, we have the x-axis. For this level, we'll just be talking about those two axes, the y and the x-axis. And to get values for this y and x-axis, then we need a table for those values. And to get those tables, we need to look into equation. So since we're talking about graph of linear equation, then we'll now be looking at the equation of a straight line. So there are two key points that we're going to be looking at, two subtopics to actually have a successful linear equation graph. The first is I want to talk about equation and table of values, and the second we want to talk about is the plotting points for the tables of values. So this video will be divided into two. All right, let's dive right into equation and tables of value. In my previous video, I've spoken about functions. So if you want to learn more about function, just check the link below. It's going to take us to what function is. So now, given the general form for linear equation of a straight line, which is y equals mx plus c. M is the coefficient of x. When I'm talking about coefficients, I'm talking about the value attached to x. For instance, you let's say 5x. The coefficient of x is 5. Whatever value is attached to a variable, it is what we call coefficient. For instance, I have x over 2. The coefficient of x is 1 over 2, because 1 over 2 times x equal x over 2. So that's the meaning of coefficient. If you're wondering what is the meaning of coefficient, so coefficient is the constant or the value attached to a variable. Okay, so given y equals to mx plus c, so m is the coefficient of x, which is referred to as the gradient of the line or the slope of the line. C represents the intercept on the y-axis. Note that m and c are constant, their values. All right. Let's consider a case where m equal 2 and c equal minus 5. So the equation now becomes y equals 2x minus 5. Those values can be anything. Not necessarily m is always equals to 2 and c equals to minus 5. And that's why they told us that they are constant. They can have any value. Alright, so this equation is the equation of x and y. There's a reason why I said it's equation of x and y. The general form of a line always is x and y. Does not mean that you can't see equation in any other form. You can see equation as let me say p equals s minus 4. So now this equation is equation of P and S, but generally the values we use for the variables is X and Y. All right, so this equation is an equation of X and Y. The equation connects two variables X and Y such that for any value of X there is always a corresponding value of Y. What it means is whatsoever value of X will be would determine what the value of Y will be. So in other words, we have two types of variable. We have dependent variable and then we have independent variable. So Y is dependent on X. Whatever the value of X is, that tells us what the value of Y is. What I'm trying to say is, the equation is Y equal 2x minus 5. So if x equal 3, it means anywhere we see x, replace it with 3. But take note, if I said replace x with 3, it does not mean that this equation now turns to y equal 23 minus 5. No, that's wrong. What separates a number with a variable is an operator sign called multiplication. So it now becomes y equal 2 times 3 minus 5. The value of 3 is what was given to us, that x equal 3. So it now becomes y equal 2 times 3 is 6 minus 5 equal 1. Right. If we are told that x equal, let's say, minus 4, what's the value for y? I want you to pause the video and try that. So it's is y equal 2 times minus 4 minus 5. And in mathematics we have board math, so definitely we're going to multiply before we subtract. And then we do this. Now what I bracket here is the value of 2 and x. This is the truth that we've been saying right from the beginning, and x is minus 4, so it is y equal 2 times negative 4 is negative 8 minus 5, so y equal negative 13. All right, having known this, let's proceed. Now for every graph there are certain value of x that will be given. In some question you will say take x varies from minus 3 to plus 3, or minus 2 to plus 5, or from 0 to 5. Whichever case, the value of x will be given to us in the question. For each of those values, we are going to get the corresponding value for y for that same equation. Let me explain it with this question here. We're told that y equals 2x minus 5. So seeing it, we have if x equal 3, then y equal 1. So that's the corresponding value, and we have a general way of writing it. In English language, x comes before y, so this is how we write those coordinates. We write it x comma y. So what will I write here? X here is what? 3 comma y. So it means when x is 3, y is 1. What about this one? We're going to write minus 4 comma minus 30. It means some questions can come like this. What is the value of b? What's the value of b given this coordinate 0 comma p? Is it? So it means anywhere I see x, I put in the value of 0 and get the corresponding value for y. For this same equation, so it now becomes y equal 2 times 0 minus 5. So 2 times 0 is what? 0. 0 minus 5, it now becomes negative 5. So the coordinate now will now be 0 comma negative 5. Right, so that's all. Lest I forget, the value of y can be given and you'll be told to find the corresponding value for x. Like let's say we have another question here, and the coordinate is let me see, x comma 10. It means y equal 10. What is the value for x for the same equation? So we'll now say 10, since the value of y has become 10, equal 2x minus 5. Now we're going to look for 5, either through balancing method or as I used to tell my students, the Japa method. What I mean is, this minus 5, we travel to meet his brother 10. Since they're all numbers and they're not having anything or any variable, what I'm trying to say is in a linear equation, two things are involved. We have a constant, and then we have a variable, a group of variable. Now the alphabets x here, they're from the village of x, and we're having negative 5, we're having 10. So we have a value, a village of x, and then we have a village of just numbers. So minus 5 is not having any alphabets there. So minus 5 needs to go and meet his brother, which is 10. And the moment a number is crossing the bridge, or anything crossing the bridge, the sign will change. So if minus 5 is traveling to the side, it turns to plus 5. So what we'll be having is 10 plus 5 equal to x. So 10 plus 5, 15 equal to x over 2 over 2. We are dividing through by the coefficient of x, so that x will stand alone. Alright, so x equal 15 over 2, or 7, or number 1 over 2, or 7.5. So it means that this answer now, x comma 10, would now be 7.5 comma 10. So when x is 7.5, the value of y is 10.